How many countries are there in the world? Do you know the correct answer? Well, there isn't exactly a correct answer. The answer depends a lot on your geographical location. The United Nations lists 193 countries as members, while the International Olympic Committee lists 206 member countries. Meanwhile, FIFA lists 211 countries as members. The United States government would say that there are 196 countries in the world, while the Russian government would say 197. Everybody has different answers to the question, largely because of these 15 places that by pretty much every conventional definition are actual functioning countries, but which have only limited international recognition for a whole bunch of different geopolitical reasons. In this video, we list those 15 places for you which are technically countries, but many people don't believe they even exist. Prepare to be shocked by some of the names on this list. Number 1. Sealand. Sealand, which is one of the first micronations in the world, is unique as it is man-made rather than natural. The nation is simply founded on a platform in the North Sea, 12 kilometers off the shoreline of England. The full-fledged nation has its own currency, flag, visas, and surprisingly, even a national football team. There also have been several music recordings that were shot on Sealand, and regardless of it being only a platform, in 2015, it facilitated a half marathon on a treadmill, which gave large exposure to the country, which isn't even officially recognized as of yet. Not many people know of it, and even fewer will believe it's a country. Believe it or not, it is. Number 2. Republic of China, or PRC. China has emerged as a global superpower in the last decade. It is only one of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council that is unrecognized by 15 other UN member states and 1 UN observer and 1 non-UN state. However, withholding recognition is not a pretty big deal for China, as most of the countries which do not recognize the country are just pretty tiny as compared to China, which has the largest global population. States like Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Paraguay, Nicaragua, Bhutan, Belize, and the tiny island countries of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Marshall Islands, and Tuvalu refuse to recognize the Republic of China in its current form. The main reason for this controversy is the Chinese occupation of Taiwan. PRC on the mainland and the ROC on the island of Taiwan each claim to be the sole legal government and representative for all of China on the international stage. Each pursues its version of the One China policy, meaning that every country in the world is given a binary choice either to recognize the PRC or the ROC as China. The entire world recognizes the significantly larger and more influential PRC, while only 15 UN members have publicly chosen to side with a smaller and less influential ROC. So if you live in one of these 15 countries, chances are you'll not know PRC exists. Number 3. North Cyprus. Cyprus's modern-day history has been overwhelmed by conflicts between its Greek and Turkish inhabitants. Cyprus was separated in around 1974 when Turkey attacked the north because of a tactical overthrow on the island, which was supported by the Greek government. The island was effectively divided, with the northern 33% island controlled by a Turkish Cypriot government and the southern 66% run by the universally recognized government driven by the Greek Cypriots. Interestingly, Turkey is the only country that recognizes Northern Cyprus. Turkey has a government office in North Nicosia, and Northern Cyprus has an embassy in Ankara. In 2005, Yahya Jammeh, then president of the Gambia, said that his nation was prepared to recognize the autonomy of Northern Cyprus. The Cypriot government dissented, and Gambia didn't recognize the TRNC. At one point, Azerbaijan and the Gambia agreed to officially recognize the TRNC. However, till today, that hasn't happened, yet their casual contacts with North Cyprus have expanded. Also, more and more representatives from different nations have recently visited the TRNC embassy in Ankara to hold meetings with the TRNC ambassador. The latest country to express its goal to change its strategy toward TRNC is Paraguay. But in 1983, both Bangladesh and Pakistan pulled out of acknowledgement after UNSC Resolution 541 and global pressure. With so little international recognition, it isn't amazing if many people don't even believe in the existence of North Cyprus. Number 4. The Republic of Armenia. Since its independence, Armenia has maintained a policy of trying to have positive and friendly relations with Iran, Russia, and the West, including the United States and the European Union. It has full membership status in several international organizations and observer status in some others. However, the dispute over the Armenian genocide of 1915 and the ongoing Nagorno-Karabakh conflict has created tense relations with two of its immediate neighbors, Azerbaijan and Turkey. Armenia is a member of more than 70 different international organizations, including the Asian Development Bank and the European Council, and it's largely recognized in the world. Meanwhile, Pakistan is the only country in the world that does not officially recognize Armenia. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen have also severed their diplomatic relations with Armenia, but they still at least recognize Armenia's existence. Even Azerbaijan recognizes the existence of Armenia, but not Pakistan. Number 5. North Korea. The hostile relations of North Korea, formerly the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or the DPRK, with the world have been molded by its contention with South Korea and its verifiable ties with world communism. Both North Korea and South Korea claim to be the sole genuine government of the entire Korean peninsula. The Korean War during the 1950s neglected to determine the issue, leaving North Korea secured in a tactical showdown with South Korea and the United States forces Korea across the demilitarized zone. However, towards the beginning of the Cold War, North Korea obtained strategic acknowledgement from communist nations. Throughout the next many years, it laid out relations with majorly developing nations and joined the non-aligned movement. Whenever the Eastern Bloc imploded in 1989 to 1992, North Korea put forth attempts to work on its strategic relations with developed capitalist nations. Simultaneously, there were global endeavors to determine the war for the Korean peninsula. Simultaneously, North Korea gained atomic weapons, adding to the worries of the worldwide community. In 2018, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un started talks with South Korea and the United States. This was the first face-to-face conversation between the head of North Korea and the sitting president of the United States. However, North Korea remains extremely reclusive on the world stage. Number 6. Israel. Israel is a member of the United Nations, but is presently unrecognized by 28 other UN member states, and the number is changing all the time. Back in 1948, the present-day states of Israel and Palestine were each part of a British mandate. The British decided to divide the land between an independent Jewish state and an independent Arab state, but it went rather sloppy. Immediately upon Israel's founding, the entire Arab and most of the Islamic world took the position that the state was founded upon Arabian land taken from the Palestinians by the British, and hence universally refused to recognize Israel's existence. As the Cold War intensified, the Americans backed the Israeli cause, while the Soviets backed the Palestinian and Arab cause, which led to nearly the entire communist Eastern Bloc withdrawing their recognition from Israel as well for its entire existence. But the Israeli and American diplomacy, along with massive geopolitical shifts, would dramatically change that over the next several decades. In 1979, Egypt broke from the rest of the Arab world and became the first Arab state to recognize Israel in exchange for the return of the Sinai Peninsula, which Israel had seized during the Six-Day War of 1967. By the 1990s, the Soviet Union had collapsed, and Eastern Europe, along with China, finally got around to recognizing Israel as well. In 1994, Jordan was the second Arab state to recognize Israel. Israel also managed to convince Guinea to recognize them in 2016 by assisting them with their Ebola epidemic. Today, 28 countries continue to not recognize Israel. They include mostly from the Islamic world, with the likes of Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Iran, with a combined population of more than 1.16 billion people. Number 7. Palestine. Surrounding Israel is the controversy surrounding the state of Palestine, which claims the areas of the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip, all three of which are presently and effectively under Israeli occupation or blockade. Palestine is the first country on this list which is not a full member state of the United Nations, but is instead a UN observer state, a position they've only held for 9 years since 2012. At present, the Palestinian state is still unrecognized by at least 55 UN member states, having a combined population of 1.24 billion people. These states primarily consist of North America, entire Western Europe, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and Israel itself. On the other hand, Palestine is also recognized by 138 UN member states, including the whole of the Arab and Islamic worlds, South America, China, and most of Eastern Europe. Number 8. Kosovo. Kosovo lies in Europe with a population of nearly 2 million people. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia 13 years ago in 2008. Serbian, Croatian, and Slovenian kingdoms came together under the government of Tito after World War II, and the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was established by Tito. Kosovo then became a state under the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. After its independence, the USA, NATO, and EU agreed to recognize the independence of Kosovo. However, Russia, Greece, Cyprus, Serbia, Spain, and Azerbaijan didn't recognize the independence of Kosovo. Albania, France, Turkey, and the UK were the first countries to recognize the independence of Kosovo on February 18, 2008. Russia had a close relationship with Serbia, therefore they were on the Serbian side. Furthermore, Russia stated that the independence of Kosovo might encourage other territories to seek independence. The Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus wasn't recognized for nearly 40 years. He told Western countries that they should be ashamed of their hypocritical attitudes. Serbia claims that the land of Kosovo belonged to Serbia. Number 9. Saharawi, or SADR. Western Sahara, previously the Spanish state of Spanish Sahara, is a contested territory claimed by both the Kingdom of Morocco and the Polisario Front, which is a freedom development situated in Algeria. The annexation of Western Sahara by Morocco occurred in two phases, in 1976 and 1979, and is viewed as unlawful under worldwide regulation. Western Sahara, or SADR, is considered by the United Nations as a decolonized region and is consequently remembered for the United Nations rundown of non-self-governing territories. Under global regulation, Western Sahara is certainly not a legitimate part of Morocco, and it stays under the worldwide laws of military occupation. As of September 2021, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic is recognized by 41 out of an aggregate of 193 United Nations member states. At various times, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic has been recognized by 84 UN member states, yet of these, 43 have since frozen or removed the acknowledgement. Number 10. Taiwan. The controversy encompassing the political status of Taiwan is an after-effect of the Chinese Civil War and the ensuing split of China into the two present-day self-administering entities, the People's Republic of China, the PRC or China, and the Republic of China, or the ROC or Taiwan. The issue relies on whether the islands of Taiwan, Penghu, Kinmen, and Matsu ought to remain domains of the ROC as an accepted separate self-governing entity or become a part of the PRC under one country. The discussion additionally concerns whether the presence and lawful status as a sovereign condition of both the ROC and the PRC are authentic as an issue of worldwide regulation. The state of affairs is acknowledged to a great extent, since it doesn't characterize the lawful or future status of Taiwan, passing on each group to decipher what is happening in a manner that is politically okay to its individuals. Simultaneously, an arrangement of the state of affairs has been condemned as being hazardous definitively because various sides have various translations of what the state of affairs is, prompting the chance of battle through brinkmanship or error. The PRC looks for the end of Taiwan's true autonomy through the course of reunification and has not precluded the utilization of power in the quest for this objective. The 21st largest economy, that is comparable in size to Turkey with a population of more than 23 million individuals, the ROC keeps up with informal binds with over 50 UN part states across the world, remembering the United States, who for 2010 arranged an arrangement to sell $6.4 billion of weapons to them, which causes them to appear to be huge amounts like really authentic. Number 11. The Republic of South Ossetia and the Republic of Abkhazia. These are the two breakaway states of Georgia which declared their independence in 1992 and 1993. Today, they are only recognized by the same 5 UN member states: Russia, Venezuela, Syria, Nicaragua, and Nauru, while tiny Vanuatu believes that while South Ossetia isn't a country, Abkhazia is, which gives them ever so slightly more international recognition. Russia, though, is the primary supporter of both countries' legitimacy with a population of more than 140 million, which has led some to argue that both are almost just de facto Russian protectorates. Nearly every other UN member, however, continues taking the Georgian position that both South Ossetia and Abkhazia are merely rebellious provinces of Georgia. Number 12. The Republic of Artsakh. Artsakh, formerly the Republic of Artsakh, is a breakaway state in the South Caucasus upheld by Armenia, whose area is universally perceived as a feature of Azerbaijan. Artsakh controls a piece of the previous Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Oblast, including the capital of Stepanakert. It's an area inside Azerbaijan. Its just overland access course to Armenia is through the 5-kilometer-wide Lachin Hall, which is heavily influenced by Russian peacekeepers. UN member or observer as of now recognizes Artsakh, although none of its foreign relations are official. Still, the Republic of Artsakh operates 5 long-lasting missions and 1 Bureau of Social Politic Information in France. Artsakh's permanent missions exist in Armenia, Australia, France, Germany, Russia, the United States, and 1 for Middle East nations situated in Beirut. The objectives of the workplaces are to introduce the Republic's stand on different issues, provide data, and work within the process. In his 2015 discourse, the president of Armenia, Sargsyan, expressed that he thought about Nagorno-Karabakh as an indivisible part of Armenia. The Republic of Artsakh is neither a member nor observer of the UN nor any of its specific offices. However, it is a part of the Community for Democracy and Rights of Nations, regularly known as the Federation of Unrecognized States, and is recognized by Transnistria, Abkhazia, and South Ossetia. Number 13. Transnistria. Quite possibly the most notorious, unrecognized country is Transnistria, whose official name is the Pridnestrovian Moldavian Republic. It's a slender piece of land between Ukraine and Moldova. Transnistria, which announced freedom from Moldova back in the mid-90s, is situated between the Dniester River in the west and the Ukrainian line in the east. Almost a million-strong population with Transnistria follow their free government, military, and police, along with their constitution and flags that are all entirely separate of Moldova. However, not a single UN member recognizes Transnistria as an autonomous country, albeit 3 nations who have some UN membership acknowledge the country, like the previously mentioned Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and Artsakh, who all keep a strategy of recognizing each other. Since a global power like Russia recognizes Abkhazia and South Ossetia and Armenia recognize Artsakh, and every one of the 3 of those nations recognizes Transnistria, which provides some sort of authenticity to Transnistria's bid. Number 14. Somaliland. Somaliland fought a brutal 7-year-long war of independence from Somalia, which saw hundreds of thousands of deaths in 1991. The country declared unilateral independence from the rest of Somalia based upon the borders of the very short-lived 5-day-long Republic of Somaliland, which existed in 1960. Somaliland was formed immediately after the country gained independence from Britain, but was later joined with the rest of Somalia. Today, however, in all aspects, Somaliland is pretty much a fully independent country and has a population of nearly 6 million people, just like Transnistria. The country has its own completely independent and separate democratic government, which operates elections entirely outside of the Somalian system. But despite this, there isn't even a single other country or UN member state which has ever officially recognized its existence. Somalia, meanwhile, continues to claim Somaliland as just an autonomous province of Somalia. And because there isn't any official recognition, most people in the world aren't even aware of the existence of Somaliland as a country. Number 15. The Republic of Uzupas. One of the most eccentric and odd self-proclaimed republics, the Republic of Uzupas, was formed in 1997 by inhabitants of an artistic neighborhood in the city of Vilnius, Lithuania's capital. The nation invites tourists, and you might even get your passport stamped in the post office or an art gallery. You can also get the local cash, the uza, and taste some Uzupian beer. The nation has its flag, money, president, cabinet, and a rather peculiar constitution, a sizable military, and a public holiday, which is April 1st. The area proclaimed itself a micronation on the 1st of April in 1998, and many at first considered this an April Fool's prank. However, it was not. The inhabitants here have been celebrating this day as Independence Day, also called the Uzupas Day, consistently from that point forward. So these were some of the odd countries in the world which exist as independent nations, but most people in the world do not know about them or believe that they are fake. If you liked the information and found it interesting, press the like button. Also, tap share to share this video with your friends. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. We will be back soon.